Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon, and I am here again with one of our wonderful, awesome, phenomenal contributing authors in the Love Letters to My Girls anthology, Aja Ellington. And she is going to share what I'm sure will be some very valuable gems for us tonight in our conversation. But before we jump into the interview with her, I just want to, of course, remind you about what we're doing here and this Love Letters to My Girls project. We are basically bringing together 100 plus women, Black women, who are going to write these love letters to other Black women and girls to help motivate them and empower them and inspire them on their journey. Our goals are to really reignite the sisterhood among Black women and girls, wherever they might be in the world, and to help them to recognize how powerful and valuable they are, and that no matter what they might be facing, that they deserve to be here, they deserve what they desire to have in their lives, and that whatever they want is possible for them, and that we are here rooting them on, cheering for them, sharing from our own experiences, words of wisdom that can literally change their lives. So we're hoping that you will come on board with us and support us in this project. And there will be a number of different ways that you can do that. And to make sure, that you're up to date with what we're doing and you know what those opportunities are, I'm going to ask you to go to loveletterstomygirls.com and join our newsletter. We'll send out periodic email messages to let you know what's going on and how you can help us on this mission. So now we want to jump into the conversation with Aja. Aja is the founder and CEO of Free Your Wings Youth Mentoring. And that sounds really, really interesting. And it sounds like you're doing some really good work just by the name of your company. So I'm really interested in hearing what exactly it is that you do and how you are impacting the world through your work with youth.
So with Free Your Wings Youth Mentoring, I have a team. So we mentor youth, and then we also go heavy into community engagement. So teaching them that not only does it start at home between your four walls, but it also starts within your community. So just bringing communities together, bringing youth together, giving them a voice, teaching them to advocate, even something as little as a conversation, getting them to understand the different mental health, like anxieties, depression, things that I struggled with when I was very younger, but didn't even know that they had a name to it. So just trying to catch them at an early age to have an impact on them for as they grow older.
Oh, that's really good. I like how you said that, you were experiencing these things when you were younger and you didn't even know that
I didn't.
it had a name to it. So you probably thought that you were just in this thing by yourself experiencing this and nobody else would
Which
even
is why I kept
understand what you
quiet.
were going through. Yes, that's really, really powerful. And I think given, kind of where we are as a culture and, there's still being this stigma with getting help, getting professional help, to work with youth at that really critical developmental stage, right? When they are really coming into their own and who they're going to be and how they're going to be in the world, to connect with them on those types of things and help them to recognize that these struggles are real struggles that everybody is going through. You're not alone in this. And here is what it's called. Like, you're not crazy, right? This is what it's called. This is what people are experiencing. This is what I've experienced. But you don't have to stay here. Here's
right, exactly.
And getting them in the habit of seeking help young, that's really powerful. And I think that work is going to help the youth that you're working with live more fulfilling and productive lives as a result.
Definitely.
I have to applaud you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And then working with youth in general in 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, for the past, I've worked with youth for the past decade. For like the past 7 years, it was at-risk youth, youth experiencing homelessness. But I was always working for organizations. So working for organizations, you're sort of restricted to their rules. And to be honest, when it comes to our culture, a lot of times these certain rules, they do not, I don't want to say they do not work, but they just, so to branch off on my own with my own team, of not even necessarily just of my culture, but sticking to the agenda of my culture, of my understanding, of our understanding, I just feel like it can make a bigger impact on our youth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, obviously that's where the work has to be done, because our youth, they become adults, they become our leaders, they become our politicians, our healthcare providers, all of that. So it's very important to put resources and energy into that group. But I know that it can also be a challenging group to work with. And the reality is that the youth that exists today are very different even from the youth that you served a decade ago.
I agree.
You know, I worked in higher ed, and I did that intentionally. Like I knew I was not a K through 12 personality. And I believe that you have to be called to do.
You do.
With that age group. And I don't say that in a bad way. I just think there's a special gifting. And I acknowledge that I don't have it. I know that. And again, I'm very happy for those who do and supportive of those that do. So it's great. And then to focus on our culture. Definitely. Obviously, we know that the work is needed there. And that, often if we don't do the work, it's not done or it's not done well.
I agree.
With good intentions most of the time. It's
not. And a lot of times just lack of understanding and whatnot. I know with organizations I've worked for, the one implementing all of the changes and the rules and the policies, it's not even just about experience, but let's be realistic. It takes more than just going to school and getting a degree to understand, which is where a lot of debates came from.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's really interesting because those same, issues and challenges, are actually feeding into why I feel like we need this book.
I agree.
There's a lot of help out there for women and support for women and women's empowerment books and events and things like that. But we as a group, Black women and girls, are still lacking in terms of what's out there that's specific to us, that actually takes into account culture and how our experiences vary or differ from other women simply because of the color of our skin.
Exactly.
And even when people know it, it's hard for them to acknowledge it. And then to set up systems and support that take all of that into consideration.
I agree.
So the book is really designed to fill a need that exists, within our group, the subgroup within the overall culture. And I don't think enough can be said about the importance of, I hate to keep using the word culture, but, really making things culturally appropriate, I guess, for what it is that you're trying to serve. And, oftentimes when we talk about inclusion and diversity and things like that, we feel like ignoring those things means that we're accepting, but you're actually doing more damage.
I agree. And you really hit the nail on the head, because a few weeks ago I got my human trafficking certificate. And I love after trainings when they give you surveys, because I had to be honest, like there's no cultural, there needs to be more cultural competence in this. So like it was a 6-hour training, but honestly, a lot of the time I found myself being annoyed, and I'm in this professional place. But I felt myself being annoyed, and I felt myself being angry, especially some of the comments that were being made. One in particular, a young lady said, well, if youth are telling us these things, then they want us to intervene. They want us to bring the police to them, to talk to them. They want us to, I said, no, you have it all wrong. Like that's just not the case. So yeah, kind of got off topic, but it needed to be more cultural competence.
Right. Yes. So that brings us to more specifically the book and your participation in it, which I am so grateful for. We don't know each other.
Yeah.
But
I knew off back. It's so crazy because people don't understand. Like if you see them in person, whether it's a wave or a hello or even the tone with an email. So I already knew like you were an amazing person because that tone was already set. So I really love that. And I'm honored to even be a part of this process.
I appreciate you saying that. And I'm honored that you chose to be a part of it. So tell us what your letter is about and what the main takeaway is that you want readers to get from your letter.
So my letter is be strong. When I started writing it, I was trying to think, because there's so many different avenues I can go in, but I wanted to basically touch base on one of the biggest struggles, which we did say earlier, anxiety. So just being extremely strong, but understanding that it's okay to not be okay. And if you can be a superwoman on all levels, but it will catch up to you if you don't deal with that hurt, you don't deal with that pain, you don't go through your grievance. Everyone's grievance is differently, but even the loss of close individuals, it will catch up to you. I've always put so many things on my plate, like being super busy helped me to not think, but now more than ever, it's all pouring out to a point where if you're at a event or something, those breakdowns, those panic attacks, it will deal with you if you don't deal with what you're going through, if you don't deal with your mental state. So mine pretty much goes into getting young women to understand it's okay to be strong, but it's also okay to say no. It's also okay to be vulnerable. It's also okay to reach out to a mentor, a friend, a sister, or even to read the book that we're making, just to understand that there are other women that may be experiencing what you're going through. And even reading a passage, it can be so impactful. I was thinking when I was younger and going through things, if I had something like that to read, and not even, because there's plenty of books in the world, but even on the different levels, we're all from different places. So if I can look up someone from my area and read it, it's just that much more close to home. You know what I mean? So yeah, being strong.
Yes. And I think from, what you're writing about, there is strength in asking for help. And, we're taught to be strong, to press through, you've got to be there for this person. You've got to do that. You can't do this.
Definitely.
And all of this, this teaching, and even, sometimes we're coached to be superwomen. And some people, some of us stand on the platform of, really be a superwoman. And I am anti-superwoman all the way.
Yeah.
And I never intentionally sought out to be superwoman, I just thought I was handling my business.
Gotcha.
But the reality was I was handling my business, but I was also handling a lot of other people's business. And I remember working at a college one time, and this one woman who, she didn't have any children, but she was married, and she would always say to me that, I don't know how you do it. You're just a superwoman. And the first time she said it, I was, kind of flattered by it. But she continued to say it, and I started to get irritated by it.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I'm really not anybody's superwoman. Like, I'm barely holding it together.
Right.
Like, it may not look like that.
Right.
But I don't think superwoman goes home and cries in her bathroom at night. And I got to a point where I had to actually ask her to stop saying that.
Oh, wow.
To me, because it wasn't, I know she thought she was complimenting me, kind of, motivating me, but it had the opposite effect. Really.
Gotcha.
And when I really kind of came to myself in that situation, that's when I was just like, yeah, superwoman is dead.
Right.
I'm not trying to be her, and I don't want to encourage anybody else to be her. Your superpower is standing in your own individual power, not trying to be all things to all people. Right. But again, that's what we've been taught to be for hundreds of years.
Definitely.
So I think your letter is really important. I think the message that you're relaying in the letter about, being vulnerable and, knowing to say no, and that it's okay to say no, and you don't have to be strong in the midst of whatever it is that, that you're going through. And, it's okay to ask for help. That is, it seems like a simple thing to say, but it really is so powerful. And I think we have to hear it repeatedly till we get to the point that we believe it and start doing it.
We do. I know when I was, I think I was 19, it was the first time I had, I didn't know it was called anxiety, but I had brought up to someone I was close to my, my symptoms, we can call it. And they were like, oh, that's all in your head. Just like, go sleep it off. Like, and it was just like, okay, maybe it is all in my head, but it's like learning to go through certain battles and to be in certain dangerous mindsets and not know that, okay, this is not normal and there is help for this. And I know sometimes the word help, I didn't like that word because, don't ask me why, I just didn't like that word help. But it's like, if I had a discreet way of, like, the book, for example, okay, I'm reading this book, hold on, oh wow, this is what I'm experiencing, and I can still fight my battle, but I can be discreet about it. It doesn't have to be on front lines. And even if it is, so what? But just getting up to that process to even be able to understand that is very important.
Well, let's stay there for a minute because you said you had this issue with help and getting help, and then you don't know why you had the issue.
I just didn't like the word, and I think it goes far back to how I was raised. My father raised me, and I have several brothers and sisters, and there were several times and years where it was him and the six of us, and there really just wasn't any help. And on top of that, he was a Black man, so it's just, I don't know how to really explain it, but like, asking for help was not something that I don't know, I guess you get told no so much, or you constantly see yourself in the same situations with your dad, with your relatives, extreme poverty, homelessness. People laugh at you when you're walking down the street with your bags. It's kind of like you don't want to let people in, kind of just figure it out yourself, because does that make sense?
It does.
It's so
It
funny because
does.
I never
So
really like got into that. This is my first time ever even, because I never even, so I think you should be like a social worker. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, so it's the exposure and the vulnerability that comes with that. Because if you ask for help, you kind of have to say why you're asking for help.
True.
You got to put your stuff out there.
Yep.
You know, and then
even putting your stuff out there, you don't know, because it's that trusting. You don't know where that's gonna go or any of that.
Right.
It's like, why? Well, I'm not gonna get on that subject.
Right. But one of the things we're taught is not to be trusting, especially in power. And you have to go to somebody in power to get help, right?
Definitely. Yep.
And there is the other piece of that you touched on, is, you know, related to, you know, kind of the shame associated with being in a position that you even need help.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so those things are kind of working against each other. You want the help, but at what cost? At what
right?
How much are you willing to risk to get the help? And culturally, we'll risk it all to keep what's going on behind closed doors. To, you know, not get another family member in trouble, or you know, not embarrassing us, you know, all of that. And those are things that we have to learn to break free from. So the work that you're doing with youth, what we're doing with the book, and there's other people out there doing good work too, to help further that along. But there just needs to be more.
Definitely.
Because this stuff is ingrained for hundreds of years.
Yep.
You know, so there's a lot of recovery that has to happen until it literally kind of shifts the cultural story, the generational story. So, you know, I think we both recognize that it's not something that, you know, we can just change the whole storyline with a couple years of work, but we work to change individual people, and each of those individual people then change individually.
Definitely.
And, you know, it grows on from there, and it has the effect of us in, you know, changing families and communities.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So very important. I told y'all we was going to get this stuff.
I love it.
Yes. So can you talk a little bit more specifically about, you know, what it was about the project that attracted you? Because there's a lot of people who do anthologies, a lot of opportunities to participate in different book projects, or, you know, other types of projects. But what was it about this project that spoke to you?
Honestly, working with Black women, coming together with other Black women, even just saying those words gives me chills, because that's so important on all levels. So coming together with other women like myself to accomplish a goal for other women, it's kind of like you're making all of these different connections to better us, to better our culture, to better our daughters, our sisters, our mothers. Is honestly, that's what drew me into it. And then I love to write. I've written books, poems, all of that. I've never done anything with it because, like Erykah Badu said, those areas I am sensitive about. I do music, which is out there, but like my poems or like paintings, I don't let nobody or anyone see those. But when it's something like this, it's bigger than me. If I can write a piece to impact someone else, then I'll do that.
Okay. We're gonna have to work on the painting the poems thing. Okay. You have your gifts are not for you.
I know.
They're for the world. Somebody's waiting for them.
I've learned that so
That's a
much
different
over the years.
conversation for a different time. All right. So I am, again, just so honored and happy and excited that you're a part of this project. When I introduce the authors for these interviews, I am consistently using the word phenomenal. And I know people are probably tired of me saying it, but I'm saying it because it's true.
Right.
Absolutely true. The women who have come together for this project are amazing. And they
even
are
the energy, like,
yes,
it's
yes.
so, I mean, I know I'm not extremely active, but I see things and I read, and even the energy, like, it's good to be a part of something and you feel like, you know what, this is good, you know, just saying it as simple as that, this is good. So I love it. I love everything about it.
Yes, absolutely. And we were intentional about making sure the group was diverse. So, we have entrepreneurs, we have educators, we have women who are leading in their communities and in industry. I think our youngest author is 16.
Oh, wow.
Our oldest author, I think she is 76, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. See,
So,
that's beautiful.
I'm just excited. We have some international authors, women from all over the world. Most of them I don't know. Surprisingly, there's about a handful that I have personal relationships with, but most of them, I don't know.
Gotcha.
And haven't, outside of the interaction for the book, haven't interacted with them. So I think it just speaks to our desire to really be there for each other and support each other. And we are absolutely destroying the stereotype that Black women can't get along and they can't work together. It's just not true. I would say, there's always exceptions to the rule. So there are some sisters who don't want to be bothered with sisters. Just like there are those people in every other category you could think of.
Definitely.
But overwhelmingly, we love each other and support each other. I just think, again, it's, we've been trained and taught to do otherwise.
I agree.
So we have to get to a point where we're comfortable stepping out of that and just, feeling free to be who we are, to let our other sisters be who they are and support and love them in that and through that until they become who they want to be.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yes,
I agree.
So as we close out, I want you to share some, motivating or encouraging words with our listeners. They may be male or female. You can direct it to women if you want to. It's not a problem, because I'm sure whatever it is, our listeners will be able to pull something out of it.
Gotcha. So I would say, be the best you. Never restrict yourself or dim your light for anyone. Be confident, stand for what you believe in, even if others are uncomfortable. Just be the best you, no restrictions, out of the cage, soar like the eagle that you are, and love yourself.
Yes. Good stuff, Aja. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. So I just want to again thank you all for tuning in, and you will be able to keep up to date with what we've got going on, find out how you can support the project, either through obviously purchasing copies of the book, by helping us financially support the donations of books to organizations and groups around the world that are serving Black women and girls, and also opportunities to help us fund our scholarship fund. We're planning to give at least 2 scholarships away to 2 women, one under 21 and one over 21, to support them in either education, training, or business startup. But we're going to need your help to make it happen. So please sign up at loveletterstomygirls.com so you can stay up to date with what we're doing and all of those opportunities to help. So we appreciate you. We appreciate the support you're going to give. And Aja, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Have a good night.